Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about how to read and understand food labeling and how we can make better choices in our diet as Canadians. So here with me I have a can of dark red kidney beans from the brand Selection, and basically what's in this can is just a bunch of kidney beans and a little bit of sauce. So first thing we want to turn our eyes to is the nutrition facts table, and this basically tells you all of the nutrients that you'll be consuming when consuming this product. And the purpose of this is just to help Canadians understand what they're actually eating. So if we look at this, first thing we'll see is that the calories, the font size is larger than the rest. And what this means is that we're looking at the updated version of 2016, which has a couple differences. So first thing on the top is the serving size, then we see calories, and then we get all of our nutrients. So we see our fats, carbs, and proteins, and these are your macronutrients, so nutrients you want to be consuming in large amounts throughout the day. And then we see some important vitamins and minerals at the bottom. So how do we use this to help us understand? First thing you want to look at is beside each nutrient you can see a value followed by either grams or milligrams depending on how much is in there. So this tells you per serving size you'll be having this many grams of this certain nutrient. So if I were to leave you with one thing, the most important thing is focus on the serving size, because if you aren't consuming exactly what that serving size says, you can easily run into misunderstanding because you might think you're consuming this amount, but it won't be if you're not actually consuming the serving size. So if you ever do want to track what you're eating, you got to make sure to adjust all of these values to match what you're eating, not what the serving size says at the top. Then we see over here, we see a set of percents. And what the percent means is called the percent daily value, or the percent DV. And it says, of the amount of that nutrient you should be having per day, eating this amount of this product will provide you with this percent. So to put that more simply, over here it says, eating this product will give you 1% of the total fats you should be having throughout the day. So I hope that makes sense. So a couple things to look at. When we usually look at fats, we think fats are bad. We don't want to consume fats. We want the product with less fat. But it's not about the quantity of fat. It's about the quality. So you'll see underneath here, it says saturated and trans fats. And these are the fats that you want to limit in your diet. So yes, this product has 0.5 grams of fat, but it actually has 0 grams of trans and saturated fats. So if you are comparing two products and one has, say, less fats overall, but if those fats are majority saturated and trans, then you'd want to go with a product with less of those types of fats, okay? Then under carbs, we see fiber and sugars. Fibers we usually want lots of in our diet, and sugars we do want to limit, specifically those added sugars. And then proteins does not have a percent DV simply because Canadians aren't normally lacking in proteins. And then the rest goes as follows. So at the bottom here, this is also new to just the new facts table. It says 5% or less is a little, 15% or more is a lot. So if you look at this, we see fibers is 18%, therefore we could say it's a lot. And that is good because fiber helps lower cholesterol, helps improve laxation, and we could see sodium here is 5%, so we could say it's a little. And that's also good because Canadians often have too much sodium in their diet, and this corresponds with hypertension, and that increases your chances of a lot of cardiovascular diseases. So I hope the facts table makes sense now. Next thing we can look at is the ingredients list. And what this tells you is all the different ingredients in order from most abundant to least abundant, to put it simply. Now the new facts table has made it a little bit more clear to understand. So say you were to have a bunch of different types of sugars. What this would do is say sugars, and then in a bracket it would say all the types of sugars from most to least, and then close the bracket, go to the next category, do the same. And the importance of the ingredients list is to help you fully understand what you're eating and some things that maybe the facts table is missing out on. For example, if you look at carbs, it says sugars, but this doesn't tell you whether or not it's added or natural sugars, which is something that you could obtain through the ingredients list, so this can help you make better choices. Next thing we can look at is the very front of the pack, look for any nutrient claims. Here we have a nutrient content claim. It says high source of fiber. Now what high source means is it has 15% or more of the daily value, which we can see here. If I were to say excellent source, that means 25% or more. And if I were just to say source of, that means 10 to 15%. There are no nutrient function claims, but these could have been like, say, fiber helps lower cholesterol. That could have been one thing that they added. It's simply not there because it didn't need to be there. So look for those. Now I'm just going to leave you guys with 3 tips that I find important. So we want to reduce our nutrients to limit, and these would be your sodium, saturated trans fats, added sugars, cholesterol. So if you do see a product that says reduced fat, then that might be the product you want to choose over the other one because that means it has 25% less. Also, if something says 0, so let's say 0 sugar, you have to take into consideration that means 0 per serving size. So if you are having more than the serving size, you might be having more. And that's all I have for today. Thank you guys.